What is up, guys? It is Marcus from Perspective Sports. And man, last night we got a bombshell when the Washington Redskins and Kansas City Chiefs struck a deal that would send MVP candidate Alex Smith to DC in exchange for a third-round pick and cornerback Kendall Fuller. But at first, Fuller was on the edge and assured us that it wasn't him that was involved in the trade with these tweets. But nonetheless, 'twas him that would indeed be traded. And the original deal that was announced was Alex Smith to DC for a second rounder, but they revised it. And the revision may have actually hurt Washington more than it helped, but Washington reportedly did have to pay more to get Alex Smith because other teams were interested and had to top the best deal. But that wasn't it from last night. Alex Smith and the Washington Redskins agreed to the third largest deal for a quarterback in NFL history. The deal would pay Alex Smith $94 million over 4 years with $71 million guaranteed. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty on why I think this deal works for both teams very well. And let's start with the Washington Redskins. They benefit from this deal for a few reasons. They don't have to break the bank, number one, for Kirk Cousins, who's basically Alex Smith who takes risks. Kirk Cousins is currently valued on the open market at about $25.6 million per year, according to Spot Track. So the Redskins got to having to pay that and instead get an equally as good or even better quarterback to some people, in my opinion, than Kirk Cousins. And the most important part of this deal is that they save money because they need to rebuild their receiving core as they lost Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon last offseason. They were the first team in league history to lose two 1,000-yard receivers in the same offseason. And now they can save money to try to bring in a big-name free agent such as Sammy Watkins, Jordan Matthews, Bryce Butler, who said if he's not the starter in Dallas, he won't be resigning, Jarvis Landry, etc. And landing those guys shouldn't be a problem because Alex Smith can spread the love without making costly mistakes. And if the Redskins want to look to the draft to get a guy, they can get Calvin Ridley out of Alabama, Cortland Sutton out of SMU, or if they want to wait to the mid-late rounds, which I believe they'll do because they need to build that defense, you've got Marcel Aitman out of Oklahoma State and Sammy Cobbs Jr. out of Indiana. The Redskins could also use this money to bolster their running back core. So as you can see, Smith gives the Redskins flexibility to build up everywhere else on their team. There's also been a lot of Redskins fans griping about trading Kendall Fuller, but really that's a small price to pay when you now have stability at the quarterback position. And when you look at the draft class and free agency class, they're loaded with corners. In the draft, you have Denzel Ward, Isaiah Oliver, Quentin Meeks. In the free agency, you have Trumaine Johnson, DJ Hayden, Kyle Fuller, ironically, Kendall Fuller's brother. Overall, this move gives the Redskins something every franchise needs in order to be successful: stability. As for the Kansas City Chiefs, they benefit from this trade because they can now move forward with their young offensive core by letting Patrick Mahomes, a guy they traded a lot to get up for, to take over the reins. They have Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, a solid offensive line with a reliable defense that now has Kendall Fuller paralleling Marcus Peters with Eric Berry over the top. Not to mention their stout linebacking core and solid D-line. This is an excellent way for the Chiefs to build a team around their young guy, Patrick Mahomes. Because this defense now with two studs at corner, solid linebacking core, and Eric Berry over the top will allow him to make mistakes without it costing them the game. So overall, the Chiefs now have a future ahead of them in an aging division. You have the Denver Broncos with an aging defense with no quarterback unless they sign Kirk Cousins. That can turn into a serious problem for them. You have the Chargers with 36-year-old Phillip Rivers and the Raiders who will be moving town with no defense. This trade was very good for both teams because the Redskins in the process gained stability and the Chiefs now have their young core set for the future. Also, in some related news, John Dorsey, former Chiefs GM who helped build this team, went and got Alex Smith, reached out to acquire Alex Smith to be his franchise guy in Cleveland, just like what he did in Kansas City when he reached out to San Francisco to get Alex Smith to be his franchise guy of the future. I just thought that'd be fun to put in there because John Dorsey has a lot of connections to Alex Smith, and that was probably the team that the Redskins had to outbid in order to land him. Well, there you guys have it. I hope you did enjoy the video. What do you guys think about this trade? Who do you think theoretically won the trade? I don't like saying won or lost the trade, but who do you think won or lost the trade, or did both teams evenly trade? I look forward to reading your comments down in the comment section. I'll see you there.